Okay.
Hey guys, and welcome to Tanashi's Movie Corner. And for today's video, I decided that I was going to do another matchup in the animated movie tournament that my brother and I have been conducting. So we have the Goofy movie versus Rise of the Guardians. And in order to determine the winner of this matchup, we go based upon plot, main characters, side characters, songs, humor, villain, cast, romance, action, themes, and memorability. So, jumping right in here, when it comes to plot, we gave that one to Rise of the Guardians. A Goofy movie has a very straightforward plot. It works really well within the confines of that movie. But the thing about Rise of the Guardians is not really because it's more complicated, because a simple plot can work really well and can be done really well. And I think a Goofy movie really has that. But Rise of the Guardians just has more involvement, has more going on. A Goofy movie has a bit of a montage at a scene that kind of stretches the movie a little bit, whereas Rise of the Guardians, everything is connected. Everything is connected to the character. The main character is his past, and what ultimately helps him decide what to do, what course to take right now. You have a lot of interactions between him and the side characters and everything just kind of fits in a much better way than a Goofy movie does. So for that reason, we gave it to Rise of the Guardians. When it came to main character, I also went to Rise of the Guardians. Max as a main character in a Goofy movie, likable, fun guy you can relate to, but at the same time, Rise of the Guardians, you get the same thing with the main character. For that one, you get the same likability. You get the same kind of connection to this character. You again get to see this character's past and everything, and really identify with him as a brother. Just as a fun guy who doesn't want to take on responsibility, but then ultimately has to. It just he connects with you more, and I think he does more, and he has more of an arc to him. So, moving on to side characters, once again gave it to Rise of the Guardians. A Goofy movie doesn't have too many side characters. Goofy being one of them, but Rise of the Guardians, you have the other Guardians, and they are involved. They may not be developed as much as some other movies, but in this particular case, it works, more in their favor because they do have more screen time and they do show a little bit more than what a Goofy movie has to offer. Moving on to songs, gave that one to a Goofy movie. It has more songs, and honestly the songs are really enjoyable, and that's a really big part of that movie. They really stand out and they really work well, and they've got some funny ones, but they've got some that are just more upbeat and showcase a good message, and that's the thing. It's not just about enjoyability, but it's about how much they actually work within the movie, how much they help the movie, so they're not just thrown in there. And the songs in a Goofy movie do a really good job of that, and Rise of the Guardians doesn't have much in the way of songs, so wasn't much to compete with there. Moving on to humor, I clearly went to a Goofy movie. That's where it's kind of geared toward, so it makes sense. And Rise of the Guardians does have a little humor, but not nearly as much, and doesn't hit as well. For villain, though, or antagonist, we went with Rise of the Guardians. Pitch, I believe, is the villain's name, and the voice work for him is really good. His character is very intimidating in what he tries to do and how he tries to manipulate everybody. Really, really showcases well. And then ultimately his kind of demise because he underestimated, Jack Frost and everyone else. So he works, and honestly, Goofy movie just doesn't really have that much of an antagonist or villain. So for cast though, gave that one to a Goofy movie. Goofy's voice, Max's, Pete's, that they're really done well, and they stand out. Rise of the Guardians, even though it had some famous actors in it, none of the voices really stuck as well as a Goofy movie. So for romance, easily a Goofy movie. Rise of the Guardians didn't have a romance, so that was pretty straightforward. And action went to Rise of the Guardians because one thing it very much excels in is showcasing a lot of action. So, and then moving on to themes, that one went to Goofy movie mostly because of the relationship between Max and Goofy. And again, you do have a little bit of a responsibility thing showcased there too, and not to the same degree, but you do have it in there, as well as the father-son bonding, letting their kids grow up, or opening up to your dad, and then being honest with your feelings toward people, and just it has a lot going for it. And lastly, memorability went to Rise of the Guardians. There's quite a few moments and fight scenes that really stand out. There's a character's death, if you will, and that stands out too, as well as the finale when ultimately Pitch loses. Not really much of a spoiler, and even going into the Frost's his background, his history, what happened to him. There's a really memorable moment there as well. So it's just more than a Goofy movie has. A Goofy movie has a few moments in it, but it's not too much, and it's not really made to have those. So, but I'll wrap that one up. So for this matchup, we have a 5-6 vote in favor of Rise of the Guardians. So Rise of the Guardians wins, and I really like a Goofy movie, and it's definitely got a lot going for it. I do feel like it's actually really underrated. But that being said, Rise of the Guardians wins, and again, in these matchups, kind of deservedly so. It has a lot of good things about it, a lot of good things going for it. But what do you guys say? Do you agree or do you disagree? Would you have given it to a Goofy movie, or do you maintain that it should also that it should go to Rise of the Guardians? Let me know down in the comments. Be sure to click that like button, share this vid, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and check out my other vids. I appreciate you guys, and until next time, peace.